Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Happy Hour podcast. Of course, I'm Ray. Socrates is here with me this week, and Tom Nutty will be joining us soon. And of course, Sarah J will be joining us tonight. She'll probably be in somewhere around 7, around that point, somewhere around then. But no, we just, how it is. Like lately, the last couple of weeks, we've just been like, fuck it. We've been starting early, just to kind of hang out and, converse with everybody. And Socrates, of course, it is in the books. We attended our first Exotica convention over the weekend. And dude, like, I know you said that you're like, hey, I've been to a lot of stuff, but I've never been to a porn convention. Yeah. And, we went there, and of course, shout out to Arietta Adams, Lauren Phillips, Ray, Adam Cole, Alex Cole. A lot of our friends, a lot of our friends from the show, who we were able to catch up with and say hello to. And also we ran into Rob Van Dam. We were able to talk to Rob Van Dam. We exchanged information with Rob Van Dam. So hopefully we can get RVD on the show in the future.
If you're listening, I bought one of your gimmicks. So
yeah. Socrates bought your shit. So now you need to come on to the show. It is an obligation. And, we also ran into Rubber Doll. Rubber Doll, of course, was a former Happy Hour TV guest. So, that's the whole cool thing with that. And dude, we got to see all kinds of cool shit. Like what was it that there were women that were walking around with lollipops that were shaped like giant dicks.
Dicksicles.
Yeah, and I think they were called dick suckers because they were actually suckers. And like there were a few times where I saw a couple of women with those things halfway down their throats, and I'm like, it's a lollipop. Like at first I thought it was like an ice cream, because those will be cool. Like how way back in the day we had those ice creams. They were like the Disney ones, and they were fruity, and they were shaped like Mickey Mouse and Goofy and like all that shit. Like, so we saw all of that. Of course, the merch store was unbelievable.
Some of those dildos.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I still don't know how you could stick that alligator tail in your face and not die.
They had like an alligator tail. They had like an octopus tentacle. Yeah. And then there was one. Wasn't there a chick that picked one up and carried it off?
She was carrying like a baby.
Yeah, she was carrying like a baby, and we were like, "What?"
Man was like, probably so. Like, she's carrying like a baby.
Yeah. And so, like, if you've never been to an Exotica, definitely go. It's fun. It's a great time.
The way I described it to DJ, it was like a flea market, but everywhere you look, there's some weird depraved shit going on.
Of course, shout out to horror show Jack Fang Smith. We ran into him. He had a bunch of horror bears with like horror icon spaces, attached to the bears, all kinds of cool stuff. He sells fangs. We might be plugging some of his stuff, showing some of his ads right here on the show with our ads that we normally do.
Are we going to speak about a certain individual?
We are. I think towards the end of our Exotica talk, we're going to talk about that, because there was so much that was involved with that. And like, I don't know, dude, it was fun. Like, of course, we went out. It was in Chantilly, Virginia. Of course, we're in Baltimore. So it took us like probably about like an hour or 20 minutes or so to get out there, which, it was cool being out there. Oh, also we got to see Jess Boots. So we appeared live on Chatterbait also, which was funny. If you remember, she was like, hey, say hello to everybody, plug yourself on Chatterbait. And literally, like, she was like doing it. And I was like, bap, 30 seconds. And I did my thing, and she was like, man, that's like one of the best ones I ever heard. And I looked at her, I was like, I was a wrestler. Like that's the thing. Like when people go, okay, hey, this is what you need to do. Boom. It's like, all right, I need to do this promo, as quick as I possibly can and say what I need to say. So, but no, that was fun. It was fun being able to say, hey, to everybody. And of course, how it was. Of course, Janine Jericho, we saw her. She actually did, a performance on stage while we were there. And it was fun to be able to say hi to everybody. Like, of course, look out for our fully fermented episode. I'm still in the process of putting it together. All of the content is on our social media pages. Twitter has a little bit more of the more risque stuff, because, Facebook and Instagram are very sensitive to that kind of stuff. But no, head over to our Twitter at the HH Pod. All the content is there. We are going to put it all together so we can put it right here on YouTube. Make sure you click the subscribe button once that's available. All the content we have will be available on that. The interviews we kept a little bit shorter because, of course, they're busy over there. We got a couple of other things coming up where,
it was amusing also after we got done, we stopped at Chick-fil-A.
Oh, yeah.
And for those who don't know, Chick-fil-A is a Christian.
You have a post.
I was still wearing my press pass with the half
press pass.
Yeah. It was like, the high priest wants a chicken sandwich. I'm a depraved degenerate. It doesn't matter. You're gonna give me my sandwich.
And that's the thing. And what was funny is that we tried to get Janine Jericho to go. We're like,
Yeah.
can you like just go over to Walmart and just shop with
You know
just your
what's funny?
pasties on?
If she went to
Like
the, if she went to the Dundalk Walmart like that, she probably wouldn't look that much out of place.
She won it. She really won it.
Except for the fact that she's more hotter than most girls. you'll
Yes,
get.
yes.
The Dundalk Walmart, our friend works there now.
Oh yeah, you were
Yeah.
telling me about that. Shout out
You
to
see
our
that Mr.
Chad Austin. Which I'm not sure if he wants everybody to know that he works at Walmart or not, but he knows now because Socrates just revealed it. So
Chad, so I had to bring it up. When you said Walmart, I had to bring it
yeah,
up.
well, I mean, like really at this point, does it kind of mean that he's kind of living his gimmick at this point? Because Chad always had the gimmick of being the slacker,
Yeah.
and now like he's working at what like that's a very nice.
Chad's 50 and he works at Walmart.
Well, no, that was his gimmick
No,
though.
yeah.
Like his gimmick was
Him and Theo Divine, right?
Yeah,
Just like-
yeah. So I mean that's the whole thing.
But no, I
Like,
told my buddy Mike I was with. I was like, yeah, that's my buddy Chad. He used to wrestle for ECW.
yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah. I was like, yeah. He's a really good wrestler. Like, and legit, Chad is a
Oh,
Chad
yeah,
is a good wrestler.
Yeah. And it's like, the whole
And
thing.
he had an amazing mullet in those days too.
Did he really?
I was just watching some old ECW on the network recently, and oh my god, his mullet rivaled Bob's. It
Really?
really did, yeah. It rivaled
Wow.
Bob's. It really did.
Wow. That's quite
That's saying
impressive.
something, right?
Now let's see what else happened at of course Janine Jericho. Well, we talked to Rubber Doll. Of course, Rubber Doll was former guest. There was a girl. She and not because really she was a bigger girl, but there was a bigger girl that was walking around that had the biggest tits Matt has ever seen in his life.
The black girl had a giant ass.
No,
Oh,
it was
that
it
girl
was
had
an
an ass?
older it was an older white lady,
Okay.
and every time she went by, Matt was like, God, no," because her like boobs were like like the size of like 3 of my heads. Like that's how. And every time she went by, Matt was like, holy fucking shit, like out loud.
Here's the
And I was
question,
just like,
though. Would you hit it?
I don't know. It was debatable. Like, but like, see me, like, don't get me wrong. I like big boobs. I always have. Like, I guess Sarah J. Like, I'm like, oh man, big boobs. But I don't like too big of boobs. Like, once they
So
get
you
to
don't-
a certain
So
size,
you're not a Corey Bush boob fan.
yeah, like once if they get past
Shout out
like.
to Corey Bush.
Yeah, if they get past like size E or
Right.
something like that, like I'm just kind of like, now they look
Here's a
disgusting.
funny story.
Like they have to be somewhere between like a big B to like a small E,
Right.
or maybe a double E. Anything smaller or bigger than that, I'm just kind of like, yeah, not my jam. Sorry, like
I'm pretty sure every chick I've ever been with had like an A cup.
Oh
'Cause
really?
they're all just very small. I like the
Yeah, I
little-
just,
little ones,
I dude, I don't know.
I'll
I
put it this
can't.
way.
That's not my jam. I can't do that.
I'm more of an ass guy, But every girl I've ever been with had smaller tits than Corey Bush. I'll say that.
Okay.
I'll go on the record saying that.
That works. And but of course, Exotica, there was one thing that stood out more so than anything.
While you guys were walking around, I had to go sit down for a minute. So
Yeah,
I heard a dissertation by 2 Kenyan chicks. That was it.
Oh, that was cool. Yeah, the two chat.
Before it's the guy, or whoever we're talking about, this fits right in here. I haven't done a poem in a while.
Okay.
I got a poem about
Do it.
Exotica.
Yeah, let's do it. All right.
About
Let
Exotica.
her rip, Socrates. Go ahead.
And it is-
Socrates' poem for December 10th, 2022. Let's go, Socrates.
This version of High Priest poetry is going to be entitled "I went to Exotica, then I came home and wrote this poem after I masturbated." I didn't expect to go to Exotica and not only meet Rob Van Dam, but also see Ray get flogged by some creepy old man. There were a lot of thotties there that I would like to spank, but unfortunately, I don't have enough money in the bank. So next time Exotica comes around, check it out. For your eyes, it will be a feast. And I would like to close this by once again reminding everyone that Al Snow once acknowledged the high priest.
Of course, you had to throw in the Al Snow acknowledgement. And of course, you said during the poem, Ray got flogged. So there was a gentleman, of course, at Exotica.
Lead.
Yeah. Well,
I threw it up and you
yeah. And see, the thing is like you're learning how we segue in this show. Like that's the thing, because everybody always says the way I segue into things. Like, and it's funny because like there's a part of Exotica, that is considered the dungeon. And
basically
so
my sex life.
yeah,
Everything I've done in my life.
so we went back in the dungeon area. They have like all kinds of like bondage and all that.
There was some Chinese guy getting spun on a wheel.
Oh yeah. And like people were being tied up and shit. Like they were legitimately like hog tying people in the air, like while we were there. So like we sat there, and right there near where Lauren Phillips was, it was the kind of thing where we looked over and we just see this guy flogging this chick. And if nobody knows what flogging is, it's basically like taking like a tasseled whip and just, beating somebody with it. That's flogging. So we look over and like this girl was just being beaten. And I'm like, I need to interview this guy. So, I go over and like the guy's basically beat, and I sit there and I interview him. I'm like, hey, can we do an interview with you? Make sure you look out for it on our social medias. It's also going to be on our Fully Fermented episode. And I'm like, hey, so with you beating this chick, like, do you beat her the entire time? And he was like, yeah. And she's like, yeah, I like it. And like we looked at her back, and I mean, dude, we've been through some rough wrestling matches. But they only last so long. Like, she
looked like me after a death match.
Yeah.
She
and
really
it's like,
did.
And I'm like, so wait a minute. So this guy is beating this chick
for 3 days.
For 3 days. Friday 6 to 11, Saturday 2 to fucking 10, and Sunday I think it's 5 to like 8 or something like that. This chick is being beaten.
Jesus Christ.
But now, so this chick's like being whooped. So I'm like talking to him, and like, and he's like, well, you want to try it? And I was like, sure, why not? And I just told him, I was like, dude, like, I'll let you beat me with that, but I just got new tattoo work done, so it can't be across the back. And he's like, all right, that's cool. So he sits there and he's like, go ahead and just, bend over the table. And he starts hitting it. Like, he's not hitting me that hard with the whip. And then the dickhead next to me, Socrates, our artificial AI, who can never be seen on camera because his eyes bother him, is like, oh, yeah, hey, he was a wrestler, hit him harder. So then he starts beating me harder with it. And like, it wasn't too bad, but I'm sure with
think about it. If he had done that to you for 3 days.
Oh yeah, 3 days fucking straight. Fuck that. And it's like the kind of thing like I think it was Matt. Matt was like, what are the odds that he was aroused when he was doing that? I'm like, he probably had wood, but I would have been fine with that. Like, whatever. Like, it turned me on watching Ray get flogged.
I can't talk shit.
And then like the girl was young.
Yeah.
Like she was young, like she looked young. I'm not sure how young she was. She could be our age. I don't know. But she looked young.
She was,
and like you could see, like, I think his wife was there, and I forgot who it was. Somebody sat there and was like, I wonder if it's a family business. Like somebody looked over and they're like, I wonder if it's a family business. And we're like, wait, what do you mean? He's like, I wonder if that's his daughter. And I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, is this like Stockholm syndrome? Like, is this like one of those like stories you hear on like Dateline of someone that keeps their kids held captive
and then we
for
found
years?
out he lives in like Lancaster in the middle of nowhere.
He lives in Lancaster in the middle of nowhere, and he doesn't have internet. And we're just kind of like, yeah, things are starting to sound a little weird. And like, I remember our entire drive back. We went 2 hours. We're like, so
that was all we talked about.
And it's like, so is it like the kind of thing where it's like, yeah, Daddy's going to give it to you tonight? And it's just like, was it like the kind of thing where like I was just kind of like the godsend at that point, where for one moment, where one moment in her life, she's just kind of like, oh man, someone's not going to beat me. Because I asked him, I was like, do you beat people if they ask? Or, can people beat her if they want to? And they were like, well, yeah. And I'm just like, so, there could be like a line of random strangers just beating this chick with like this whip. And it's like a leather, like tassel whip. It looks like if you've ever seen like a feather duster. It looked like a feather duster, but with leather fucking, straps everywhere.
I've used those things on chicks.
Yeah.
And I can tell you what they've told me.
Yeah,
they said that it definitely tickles a little bit.
Yeah, and, well, I mean, like we got so far with it that we're like, suppose it's the kind of thing where he's like, all right, look, you got your option. You get the whip tonight, or you get the well. It's the W or the W, the whip or the well. Wow, whip or well. And like Matt was like, well, what do you mean with the well? I'm like, I feel like if she doesn't want to be beaten, she has to be put at the bottom of the well. Right. But like, like if you're at the bottom of the well, like you only get so much light. And then all of a sudden,
actually, I don't know because I've never been in a well.
All of a sudden, the light gets covered up, and you're just like, did he put like a piece of like, wood over this? Is this a board? What is this? And then the next thing you know, you just smell shit and you feel something coming down. It's just like, okay, So wait, I've chosen to not be beaten. So instead, he's sitting on the well, shitting down on top of me. And then like imagine this, like, you know, she comes out and then he's just kind of like, I'm going to beat that shit off of you. It's like, so he like pulls her out and just flogs her until there's no more shit left on her body. Or it's the kind of thing that really at that point, you're beating the shit into her pores. Like her body is absorbing. Like I was watching In Your House in 1995, December In Your House 95. And it was when Triple H wrestled Henry Ogawa in the hog pen match. And I noticed that like right before they went into the hog pen, Triple H got Irish whipped into the fence and the fence cut his back open really bad.
Yeah, right.
And think about it, I was like, oh man, he's getting into like a dirty, muddy pig shit pen with his back bleeding like that. And it made me think, I was like, could you imagine that chick gets beat bloody and like she's completely covered in like this dude's like, you know, manure, like
so
he's just machine gun shitting down this well, like
beating the shit out of her. He was beating the shit into her.
Yeah. Like he was beating the shit into her, only to beat the shit back out of her later on.
I feel like Casey Anthony had a bit with her dad. I watched a documentary about it.
Really? How was that? How was that? I know Eric had said something when that when we had Eric when he said something about
it's like a 4-part series. I watched the whole thing, and it's interesting because I still think she did it, but from the way they talked and just the way they showed things, I do think there's a possibility her dad did it. And I think there's a possibility it was an accident that they covered up.
But
if you get a chance to check it out, it's good. It's the first interview she's actually done since the whole thing happened. And like, I will say this about her: she's a little bit older now. I would still hit her. She still looks good. I'm not gonna lie. She still looks fucking good.
Yeah.
But no, check it out. It's on Peacock, and it's actually
I've been meaning to watch it myself. And of course, real quick, shout out to our featured beer, which is Spootzel Brewery Shiner Holiday Cheer. Shiner Holiday Cheer. Make sure you go and pick it up. It says "Cheer for All" on the back of the bottle, and there's no trendy little. It says brewed with peaches and pecans, and with natural flavor and caramel color. So make sure you go out and pick that up. Of course, you know, as always, I've been neglecting our featured shop, but I have to drive. I try not to do the shots when I need to drive. Like if Matt's here, you know, like Socrates, you know, I normally go pick Socrates up. So, you know, 2 beers normally is what I will do on episodes where I have to drive, because you have to drink responsibly. Of course, this is the happy hour podcast, but we don't want anybody going out and getting arrested right before Christmas for, you know, drinking.
Don't pull a Jeff Hardy.
Yeah. Don't be stupid. But, and of course, our good friend Jason, shout out to Jason. You know, MVP, he comes in every single week. We love Jason. He said, "What's up?" And I'm like, "What the fuck's up, bro?" And he's like, "I just got done making homemade chili. It was pretty good." So imagine, like, I wonder if that's what that chick's meal is every night. Like, he just makes chili, but like she doesn't get to eat it. He just pours the chili all over her body and he beats the chili into her body. Like, I mean, like you remember it's the thing where. Did you ever watch the show 1,000 Ways to Die?
Yeah.
Did you ever see the episode where like the dude like put like the liquor into his anus because it gets you drunk quicker and he does it? Like that's how he feeds her the chili. He funnels the chili into her asshole. He beer bongs the chili into this chick's ass. So like, you know, she can get her daily, fix of food. You're like, I gotta eat. Well, I mean, like
it's pretty bad when you gross out the high priest.
And Jason said, "I'm drinking Natty Daddies. They're not too bad, but not really my choice of beer." So when he says Natty Daddies, does he mean Natural Light or Natty Bow? Because of course, here in Baltimore, Natty Bow, you know, it's all about the Natty Bow. You know, that was brewed originally here. You know, right here in Baltimore, we have a big, neon Natty Bow guy sign that winks looking over the city.
Did you go to a Sonar for a concert?
I did go to Sonar before.
I went to Sonar one time for Good Charlotte.
Okay.
And they had Natty Bows for $3. And I was like, this is amazing. This is a concert and it's $3 beer. Let's say I had a few beverages.
Of course, one of my favorite things used to be is that Camden Yards used to have a Natty Bow bar. And 2 hours before game time, you could get $5 draft beers, which were really good for a baseball game. But yeah, like Natty Bow, like I used to go to places all the time where they would have happy hour and it would be $1 Natty Bows. And it's like, fuck, like I'm getting ripped tonight. Like I would have to drink like 37 of them just to feel buzzed. But you know, it's still good paying $37 for like 37 Natty Bows and $37 for like 12 of another
here's
beer.
a question, because we were actually talking about this on the way over.
Okay.
And I don't know the answer. You might, because I don't remember.
Okay.
When we had the 23 pitchers of beer in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Do you remember what kind of beer it was?
I don't. I have no idea.
I don't either.
Dude,
I was
like
thinking about that.
it's the kind of thing that they could have been giving us different beer every time.
They probably
But I think we were so drunk at one point that we just didn't even realize. Like the company that I work for, you know, I try not to mention what like my actual company, you know, with the show, but like we just had our company party and we went over to shout out the Pool Island Brewery, and we're going to try to get over there in March and feature them on Fully Fermented. And they had what was it? They had barrel aged stouts that they had, like whiskey barrel aged stouts, and they were all based off of mustache. They were called the mustache blends, and one of them was
Raleigh Fingers, right?
one of them I drank, which I really liked, was the Raleigh Fingers chocolate cherry stout, and then they had Hulk Hogan hazelnut. They had salted what was it? Wilford Brimley salted caramel stout.
Now here's a question.
Which,
I bet you there's one famous person with a mustache they didn't have a beer for.
who's that?
He was from Germany,
Okay.
and 1930s, known as the Fuhrer.
Are you talking about Stalin?
No, although that's a good one too. Oh, Adolf, good old Adolf. Although they could do Stalin too. I mean, again,
You know,
famous
I
family
mean,
with
that's the
mustache.
thing. And of course, this is a very sensitive concept because of Kanye. But if they do the Adolf
Kanye
blend,
should sponsor.
yeah,
it.
do they bring in
There
Kanye
you go.
to plug that? Like,
There
because
you
I
go.
know he'd be like, yeah, you know, try the new Adolf beer, fuck
was
the
a great
Jews. Like, you know, it's like, what? Like that would be a promotional nightmare. Like, not only because, you know, Kanye's the biggest racist against Jews in the world, but also because Kanye is just generally an idiot.
You know, make it perfect though. It's perfect if it was a kosher beer.
Oh, you know, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, they should do something where like they do a porn parody where there's a bunch of gay Jewish men just fucking Kanye, like a gangbang on Kanye by a bunch of gay Jewish men. And I was like, that would be great. And like someone hacks into his like home system and it plays on every TV nonstop for 24 hours.
One of them has to look like gold.
Oh, yeah.
And one looks like Paul Heyman. It's just a creepy old guy looks like Paul Heyman.
And Jason, he was like, who were you most excited to see at Exotica in DC? I mean, really,
I was Rob Van Dam.
Yeah, Rob Van Dam was cool. I would say I wasn't really for sure excited to see anybody in particular. I was excited to catch up and actually meet some of the people that we've had on our show that I haven't been able to meet in person yet, and at least take like a photo or say, hey.
Of course, now your answer is Flogger knows best.
Yes. My answer was Flogger knows best because that like, you know.
So the Stormy Daniels was there.
Stormy Daniels was there.
I didn't know she was going to be there. If I had known she was going to be there, I would have worn my Make America Great.
She was there. Of course, Lisa Ann was there. Like, it was weird because as soon as you went into
Who was the hottest one there? In your opinion, if there was one there that you could have, who would be the hottest one?
I don't know, because there were so many people there. And like, I don't know. Like, I don't think I can really particularly answer that because I don't know. Like, there wasn't anybody there that I was like, oh man, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know. I was just kind of excited to be there and see everybody. Like, I was super excited to be able to say hey to Lauren Phillips. Like, she was one of our original guests. Alex Cole, of course, we're going to have Alex Cole in the future. I already talked to her. She's going to be back in January. So anybody watching live, Alex Cole will be back on the show in January.
The chick that was next to Alex Cole.
Oh yeah, she looked a little bit like Scarlett. Yeah, she looked like Scarlett.
Her name was something Bell.
What's that, Lexi Bell?
I think it might
something
be
like that.
Bell,
Okay.
But let's just say I was a fan of her.
Well, see, here's the thing with Exotica. One thing that kind of scared me at Exotica, and of course, you know, where you were sitting, like you had to take breaks because your back's bad, so you have to sit every so often. When we were at Exotica, like, remember, we saw that dude that was passed out. And I was like, man, he's seen so many titties today.
We needed to
he needed to take a nap. Like that dude. And then, of course, when we first got there was a guy that was walking out that had like he just got a photo sign. He looked so proud.
Oh, yeah.
Like he had such a big shitting grin. But my thing, and I didn't mention this to you guys, but I thought about it. I was afraid to touch the handles of the toilets to flush them because I'm like, how many guys came in here and met a porn star for the first time and then came in here and wore themselves out and dropped their children in this toilet.
I will say this: like when I sat on the toilet when I went in there,
Oh, dude, you totally got cum all
I
over your ass.
I put down 3 layers of toilet paper. Usually I go 2. I put 3 down.
This time you put on 3 layers.
Home, I did feel a little itchy. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, well, it's probably because you were violated on the Exotica toilet. Like if you want cum in your ass, you take, you know how like the toilets have like those little like metal handles that stick out that you press down. You just ass fuck yourself one of those. Just let it go in your ass, and then boom. Or if you're a chick, you just go on instantly impregnated by like multiple different people, because I'm sure people were beating their dicks.
Some guy went in and dropped an upper decker, but with cum. He just parts. So you're just a cum, a river of cum.
Like it's a mixture of like blood, shit, and semen.
It's like just a Metallica load album. It's just blood, shit, and semen.
It's a Jersey Turnpike of bodily fluids. That's just what it is. A Jersey Turnpike of bodily fluids. And if you don't know what a Jersey Turnpike is, it's when a bartender takes a rag that they clean the bar up with, and they wring the rag out.
Not even a bowling alley rag up in your ass like you.
No. It is a rag that they've been cleaning the bar up with all night, and they wring it out into a shot glass, and you take that shot. So that, and I've done those before. They're awful. I remember Blood was on a kick there for a while where he was trying to get us to take a shot of toilet water, because he would sit there and he'd take the glass and he'd be like, "Hey, I bought you a shot of vodka." But normally Blood would sit there and he would fuck it up to where he would not realize that we weren't quite drunk enough yet to realize that it wasn't a shot, that like we'd smell it and we were like, bro, that's not, you know, that's toilet water. Yeah, this is not vodka. This is totally toilet water. Like, and of course, Tom Nutty's entering the room now, so he'll be here with us in 1 minute. So, and there he is right there. What's going on, brother?
What's up, buddy?
Not too much. Of course, me and Socrates got a little bored, so we started slightly early. But
it happens.
What's going on, man?
Oh, you know, same shit, different day. Working, trying to find something that's gonna make me famous, so I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah. But whatever works, man. Whatever makes sense. And
it might be this podcast.
Yeah, we're talking about Exotica, and I wanted to tell you real quick. We ran into the guy. Like, I don't know if you saw the video of me being flogged from Exotica.
Yes,
but that dude, like the chick that was there, that he was like beating, like she was like very like this dude like beat this chick all weekend. Like I'm talking about like I didn't even ask him. I'm like, did you beat her? Like, are you beating her Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? Like somebody brought it up. I think it might have been Matt, that they were like, she looks kind of young, and like the dude's wife was there, and Matt was like, I wonder if this is a family business. And I was like,
oh god.
I'm like, is that dude beating his daughter the entire time? And it made for a very interesting drive home, because we couldn't get past the fact of this dude. Like, we talked about it a little bit before you came on. I was like, you know, it's probably like he gives her the option of the whip or the well. It's like you're either being whipped or you're going down in the well. And when she goes in the well, he shits down the well. So it's like, now when she comes out, he's like, now I need to clean you off. And he just starts beating the shit off of her with the whip. God. Like, you know, so
I will say that like that guy seemed like oddly not sexual about it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It was very strange encounter, it looked like, but
yeah.
It looked like fun.
Yeah, it was. I mean, dude, it was totally fucking fun. Like, that's, you know, I mean, definitely next time we go or whatever, dude, you have to try to make it, because it was a blast. Like, just, you know, being there and just hanging out and all that. And like, there were a couple of times where I made eye contact with people, and I was like, I made eye contact with them, and you could, like, you ever hear like the kind of thing where like they can like go find a cat and you can see somebody's death in the cat's eyes. Like, I seen them aggressively masturbating in their eyes. Like, God. That's like we were just talking about right before you came through. I was afraid to use the toilets, because I was like, who, like, you know,
there's got to be cum everywhere.
Oh yeah. Like someone meets their favorite porn star, and then they just come in here and they just wear themselves out when the fucking like. I mean, you know, I can't sit there and say that I've never masturbated and just let it flow into a toilet before, because I mean, I have. Like, you know,
when we did the last round table, I talked about jerking off in the bathroom at Teamsters Hall. Yeah. Bob was like, oh, why? Why? Like, I was 19.
Yeah.
I was trying to fuck Jenna.
Oh fuck.
I had a beverage or two.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, and of course we're right here on YouTube Live. Of course, we started a little bit early. Tom Nutty is here with us. Sarah J, like we promoted 7:30, but then her rep asked about 7, and I was like, we can do 7. I'm not sure if we had talked about 7. I forgot and advertised 7:30 or 7 or 7:30. One of those two, she will be here. Yeah. Either way, she will be here live right here on YouTube Live. Of course, it's going to be Sarah J's second appearance right here on the Happy Hour podcast.
Which is 2 more than Jay Baller, by the way.
Yeah. Jay Baller will never be on the show.
I'll never let that go, just so you know. I'll never let that go.
No, like it was funny because that flogger guy, like, you know, when he asked me, he's like, hey, can I flog you? I was just like, yeah, I mean, you can, but it has to be my ass. Like, because I just got all that tattoo work done on my back. And I was like, I can't have this dude like visualize his daughter on me and just like beat the tattoo off my back. Like, I mean,
so
like,
in other words,
you know,
you were smarter than me when I got the tattoo and did a bar about 2 years later.
Yes, I definitely was. And like, that's the thing. Like, I told Socrates, like, she had like a moment of like salvation, like for a second, because he was beating me for like a split second, and she's just kind of like, oh dear God in heaven, like I'm saved. Like
finally got a break.
Yeah. She's like, he doesn't have to beat me anymore.
You were like the guy that offered to go up on the cross for Jesus.
Yeah.
That's who you were. You really were.
It's like, don't worry. I got this. I got you, bro. Don't worry about it.
Like, the last time I saw somebody get flogged like that was in the Passion of the Christ.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, it kind of makes sense building up towards Christmas. Right? It's like,
hey, like, Santa was there. I mean,
he just sits there and looks at me and he's like, I'm going to beat you like Jesus. You know, and I'm just like, oh my God.
You got flogged. We should have also got a picture of you on Santa's lap.
Yeah, I don't know.
With a lizard, with a fucking lizard.
Well, it was funny because there was so much shit going on. Of course, Evan Stone was Santa. And then, you know, like it's weird because as soon as you walked in, like you had Katie Morgan, you had Stormy Daniels, you know, you had Lisa Ann, you had all those like bigger stars that were like right there towards the front. And then, you know, you had the dungeon that was towards the back. Over towards the left-hand side, you had a chatterbait set up, which they were all live the entire time they were there. And I'm like, man, like,
how much money did they make?
I don't know. I have no idea. Like,
how many Sims were playing all 3 days?
Like with chatterbait, like they get paid. Like people watch them sleep. Like they're live all the time, so they're being paid. To like sleep.
How nice must it be to be a hot chick?
Yeah,
you can get paid to sleep for 8 fucking hours on the internet. Oh.
And of course, shout out to our boy Jason. He posted a photo of him with Lauren Phillips, and Sarah J will be joining us probably more closer to 7:30. She just posted 37 seconds ago that she will be live with us at 7:30. So she will be right here at 7:30. Of course, me and Socrates started the party a little bit earlier, and Tom Nutty is here. Of course, Tom, did you see the trailer yet for Cocaine Bear? Of course, we've talked about that before on the show, and like. Just like a cocaine fueled bear that's just angry the entire time. Like I just signed me to fuck up for that.
No, wait a minute. Like, did it get into Jim's stash?
Yeah, no, it didn't. But that would be a good storyline. Like, I mean, no, dude, I definitely want to see that. Make sure everybody goes out, check out the trailer for that. And like recently, I'm not one of those kinds of people. I don't like going to the doctor. So I went to the doctor recently, and like, I don't know, it was weird because like there's nothing wrong. Like I'm not dying. Like, unfortunately I went in there and they weren't like, you're dying. And I was just kind of like, well, damn it. I still have to pay bills now. Like, you know, what the fuck? So, but like I went there and, you know, they do blood work on the site. So they're like, we need like a sample from you. And I'm like, okay, like whatever. So, and they're like, just put it in the metal door. And I'm like, so anybody can just come in here and just open this metal door at any time. And like, for some reason, I'm sitting there holding my piss and I put the cap on it. And for some reason, the thought popped in my mind of what prevents some motherfucker from going in here and sampling all the piss samples in this thing. Like, I don't know why. Like it wasn't like the kind of thing where I imagined putting it up to my lips and then slowly putting it back down or anything like that. Like, you know, I was just kind of like,
they're all just there for the taking.
Yeah, they're all just here, you know, and of course, Sarah J, she's joining us right now. So we're going to go ahead and her. No, it was the kind of thing I'm like, what prevents somebody? Like, you know, because you have urine samples from everybody just in that little door. Like, how often, like, is there like a checklist that you have at that point to where it's like, okay, you know, David checked an hour ago and pulled all the samples. There were 5 samples, you know?
Right.
So it's like, at that point, it's like, does David go to check a sample and like one of like the urine samples is missing? Like at that point, it's like, what happens? Like if the urine sample is just gone completely, like it's like, oh shit, you know, it's missing. And of course, our guest Sarah J is joining us. Sarah, how you doing? It's been over a year or so since you've been on the show. Of course, welcome to the Happy Hour podcast. Glad to have you back.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be on. What did I walk in on? Urine test. What?
Well, it was the kind of thing that I was telling Tom that I had a doctor's appointment recently, and of course they wanted to do blood work, so I had to do like a urine sample. And in the room they had this little like just weird like metal door where they're like put the sample in there and just close the door. And there were other urine samples in there.
Yeah.
And like for some reason, and this shows how weird my mind is, I was like, well, what prevents somebody from like just opening this door, pulling one out, sampling it, and then putting it back in there, or just doing whatever else with that random
Putting drugs in it.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
like how long does it stay? How long are you going to keep my urine in here before you pull it out and do whatever you need to do?
You know what? That's a very good question. I actually wonder kind of the same thing when I see that little door. I don't really feel comfortable leaving my pee in the little door.
Yeah. It's like, do you put it in there and then there's like some sort of like magical thing that spins it around to another side? Like,
They have, you know what? They have a door on the other side, actually.
yeah.
They have like little door on the other side.
Yeah, you know,
There's
maybe
2
that.
doors.
No, but it was solid though. So it was solid.
Oh yeah, everyone I've seen has a door on the other side. It's like they got a door and you got a door in the bathroom.
Yeah, which would make sense because you can just spin it around. But I mean, and that's the thing. Like someone can be like, "Oh, well, I got myself a specimen that I can do whatever with." Like, "Oh, they're piss testing me at work next week. I need this." Like,
Or somebody that hates you come follow you in there and put some drugs in your.
somebody stalker. They follow you to the doctor, and they're just kind of like, "All right, I got it. I'm
not
doing
worried.
something." With this.
I'm usually friends with all the people that carry drugs around, so I'm not too worried about them disliking me.
And speaking of that, like, of course, you know, we're talking about, you know, pee, and like if pee could potentially be dirty. I'm going to get into one of our news articles that, you know, has it ever been the kind of thing? Have you guys ever needed, like, have any of you guys ever went into, and I'm sure we've probably all done it, went into like a concert or something like that, and you've kind of like smuggled or snuck something in? Like I snuck alcohol into my own wedding when they said, "You're not supposed to have this" beforehand. And, like, you know, and meanwhile, my wife's chugging Jaeger up in the house, and I'm like, well, I have it in a Sunkist bottle. Fuck me.
Right.
Like, we're not gonna marry each other sober. Fuck that.
Metallica.
Yeah.
We had a big ass
Yeah, you know, yes, most frequently. But I would like to, you know, the coolest like smuggle I ever saw, and I didn't do it, but somebody else did it. I went to a Jimmy Buffett concert back when I was in like high school, and there was some lady there dressed up as Carmen Miranda with the like big fruit basket on her head.
Oh shit.
Each fruit opened up, had like a little screw top and opened up, and there was different liquors in the whole thing.
Nice.
Yeah, I was like, that's slick. They also used to do a lot of like fruit infused alcohol. Like you were allowed to bring food in, but you couldn't bring alcohol. So they would do like watermelons and cherries and stuff like that.
Nice. I used to take stuff all the time. Ocean City, Maryland. You're not really allowed to drink or, you know, walk around on the boardwalk, which is weird. Like, I'm like, it's the boardwalk. Like, why can't you walk around and drink on the boardwalk? Like, it's the weirdest thing. So I would always put like spiked tea in like a Chick-fil-A cup or something like that, and just be like, whatever. Fuck these guys.
Thermos of vodka at wrestling shows.
Thermos of vodka. I wonder who that is.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah.
But no, now imagine this. There was a place, it says it's safe to say that people associate snow with Christmas. And there is something special about the bright, soft, white powder being a part of it. In this case, Santa brought snow, all right. The snow he actually brought was cocaine. Police in Rio de Janeiro found Santa dolls filled with cocaine and ornaments filled with marijuana. So imagine like being somebody like over time in your family, like you have like these ornaments that get passed down, and like it has these Santa dolls. Like you don't realize that your family was a part of like the Rio de Janeiro and, you know, mafia. And then you end up with like all this stuff that has like all this like cocaine in it. And then finally, at one point, one of the kids knocks it over, the head falls off, and all this cocaine comes out. And you're like, I could have had millions. Like, there we go.
and then your dog eats it, and you have the sequel to Cocaine Bear, which is Cocaine Corgi.
Yeah, like at that point, like the most docile of dogs becomes the most violent of dogs after discovering the Santa with the cocaine hidden in its head.
Look, the dog doesn't become violent, dude. It just scratches a lot and won't shut the fuck up.
You know, I've always wondered what happens to animals if they ingest like those kind of drugs, you know, like my dog accidentally got high a couple times, like stoned. And I'll be honest, it wasn't really fun. Like she doesn't like it, and she gets like real weird, and she's like nervous, and she's like looking at everything, and she's like almost like scared.
Really?
But yeah, and when I had to take her to the vet one time, they were like, well, there's a couple things going on, but one of the things, did she by any chance get some marijuana? And I was like, maybe.
I don't quite know.
Maybe. But I've always wondered, like, oh my God, what was to happen like to an animal that, you know, got like, you know, say Coke or Molly or crack or something like horrible. They just die. They just have a heart attack and die.
Yeah, but they're gonna be like super fucking happy until they die.
Well, we talked about, and we brought it up a little bit right before you came on. Like before on the show, we talked about they're making a movie called Cocaine Bear. And we talked about the story in 1985. There was somebody that was associated with the you know Pablo whatever. Yeah, and so he like basically was parachuting down with cocaine, and his parachute failed, and he fell to his death. And the bear just found some of the cocaine and ate it, and just went on a tirade, and then died in the woods. So now they're making a movie based off of those events. With it. It looks a little bit more fabric. There's some stuff that looks very fabricated.
Like a horror film?
But yeah, it's more like a horror film. I think it's actually one of the last films Ray Liotta filmed before he died, because it's advertising him in it, and Elizabeth Banks is doing it.
Yeah, the producer of it.
Yeah.
I got like a reverse of that though. I accidentally took my dog's heart medication once.
What?
I had my pills right next
How
to
did
him,
that go?
and I accidentally took his heart medication.
Okay.
I was like feeling a little woozy, and I was like, I think I took the wrong medication.
You have a heart attack from taking your dog's heart medication.
Well, you know, I'm still here, so I live.
So, Sarah, have you? So, of course, your dog's got into stuff, and of course, you have a lot of the CBD stuff. Like, have you ever had it to where like anybody, like you're, you know, of course, you have like bath bombs. You know, you have all kinds of cool stuff now with all that. And like, have you ever had anything to where like something got messed up with one of them, or like somebody got into the stuff and it's just kind of like, okay, well, you know, I put a little bit too much CBD in this, or like the formulation of it. Like, has anything ever went?
No, you know, we have a manufacturer, and they're like super professional, so it's all done well. And the cool thing about CBD, and that's part of the reason why it's like so legal, is that if you did take too much, you just go to sleep.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, there's no like craziness that ensues, you know, you just fall asleep.
And now that we're on the drug stuff, I'm going to get into another drunken news article, and the article is, "Oh rats, police say that rodents stole a marijuana stash worth $500K.
I heard about this.
So it said, "Lord help us if they get the munchies." A colony of rats scurried their way through Indian police warehouses, eating hundreds of kilograms worth and seized marijuana, and it was locked away as criminal evidence. Authorities estimated that over 700 kilograms of pot were potentially noshed by the furry obstructions to get justice in the city of Murtha, according to Judge Sanjay Chaudhry. All of it was under danger of infestation by rats, he warned. The edible evidence was valued at over $500,000. Jesus Christ! So imagine like rats just getting through. Like imagine,
I'm scared of rats as it is. That's terrifying.
Imagine making
how many
that.
pounds is kilograms? Like I don't know my conversion. Like
Here,
700 kilograms to pounds. I need to know.
Yeah,
like how many rats are we talking? Also,
Yeah,
I need details.
So 1 kilogram,
Like 2.3 or something, isn't it?
pounds. So 2.2 pounds.
I was close.
Kilograms.
Rat only
So
weighs
No,
about
that's
a pound.
1,400 pounds of weed. No, that's a lie. That's a lie. Somebody smuggled that. They're selling it. The cops are selling it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's totally
yeah.
a lie.
Yeah,
You
it
would have
wasn't.
to have like like an army, like a large army of rats, like over like 10 years.
Which it's kind of weird because it's like, you have these stashes now. And of course, all these places, and of course, it just got approved here in Maryland, recreational use for marijuana, which is a big win, which I'm not a big, marijuana user myself. My co-host Matt, who's not here tonight, he's off. He's a huge marijuana user.
He was high as fuck at
Yeah.
Exotica.
Oh, he was high as shit at Exotica. Like I'm pretty sure he's seen tits when there weren't even tits around at Exotica.
Remember the girl that was standing still? We couldn't determine if she was real or not.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about that.
But the last time I saw that many rats was in the MEWF locker room.
And but with that, it's like everything's being legalized. So so now like a lot of those stashes, if you took those stashes, like can you like pretty much just go, oh yeah, sorry, like here's your stash back, like because they're releasing people for it now, like
no, not necessarily, because there's so many, like the reason why they're able to do this is because there's regulation now. So you have to be licensed to sell it, you have to have a dispensary to sell it, you have to tax, so they can't just be like, oh, here's your stash back. The fines and the penalties are obviously going to be a lot less, but they can't really like just give that back and be like, oh yeah, go ahead and sell it. Or, like there has to be a small amount for personal consumption still. And if you are caught selling it, there's like ramifications, every state's different, but it's probably a little bit worse to a certain extent because now you're dealing with not necessarily like selling illegal drugs, but now you're dealing with things like licensing and tax evasion and like all that other kind of stuff.
They took all the fun out of dealing drugs.
Yes, they did.
And like,
they fucking did.
Dispensaries now, like those are $1 million businesses now.
Also heroin. I mean,
they are way more than $1 million businesses.
Oh,
I worked for a company and we built a grow house.
You guys sold drugs?
Sort of, but like we built a grow house and it was a legitimate operation, a real company, right? But they're still not allowed to use their money to like federally, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they offered to pay for this job, which just the job was $multi-million. They offered to pay for it in cash.
Wow.
The dispensary did,
It
because
is
they're not
so
allowed to use
hard
certain banks.
for these businesses to get banking, like financing. It's almost more difficult for them to pay you through a wire or through bank because they can't keep all their money in the bank because banks won't do business with these, businesses. Unfortunately, that's the way it is now, but you can only hope as more and more states, if we could get federal regulation, then all of these businesses could operate regularly, just like any other business, like a coffee shop or a Starbucks or whatever,
And
I was a grower for 12 years.
And of course we're live right here on YouTube Live, and people are commenting in the thread. Of course, our good buddy Jason Rushman, he said, Sarah, love your movies. I had so much fun at Exotica in New Jersey. I cannot wait until next year. After the parties at the after parties at the Sheraton are his favorite. So and somebody else said that they got to meet you at last year's Exotica. So Sarah, how do you of course we just went to our first Exotica ourselves in DC, which was awesome. It blew us away. It was fun catching up with a lot of the girls we've had on the show. How many do you try to make all the, of course you weren't at the DC one, but do you mainly frequent the Jersey one? Of course, there's 4 of them, I think. There's
Miami
Jersey,
and Chicago.
Yeah, they usually have 4 of them. They have, the Jersey, the Chicago are like staples. And then the other ones kind of like float around depending on what they feel like doing or whatever. I try to, like, up until 2020, I would go to like as many events as possible. Like,
okay,
I would just go to all the events because I just love reaching out to the fans, and it gives me kind of like purpose, like we do these things where we work over here on this side of the camera, and besides social media, that's really the only like interactions that you have with fans. So to be able to like go to these events and see these, I cried so hard during the last Exotica because it was just like so touching. I forgot like how awesome these fans are and like how into it they are, So after 2020 happened, it made me take like a little bit of a step back and kind of like reevaluate my workflow and stuff. And now I'm gonna just not put myself in the box of doing everything. Like if I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it. I didn't do the DC Exotica #1 first year. It would have been the first year for me to do the Exotica. And #2, I have a lot of other things going on this month, and last month, November's birthday month. So
Nice.
in order to prepare, I would have had to take away from like some of the festivities that I had going on. Plus also here in Miami, it's my favorite time of year because we have Art Basel. Art Basel is one of the busiest times of the year in Miami. So much fun. I love art. I'm a big art connoisseur on like a low level. But yeah, like low level. Yeah, I just really didn't want to miss it. And I might do DC in the future. I might not. I don't know. I'm trying not to commit.
We're going to try to swing out to New Jersey next year. I heard New Jersey is one of the better ones and one of the bigger ones to go to. And what is Art Basel? Like what exactly, like, is that just kind of like an art fest and Artscape? Like we have a lot of stuff downtown. Like, was it any place in particular? Or like, was it an outdoor thing?
The interesting thing about Art Basel is I think there's only 2 or 3 of them in the world. I want to say,
oh, wow.
Yeah, I forget where the other ones are. I should know, but I don't. But it draws like maybe 200,000 people to the city. And
Really?
it takes over all of Miami and all of Miami Beach. There's art installations out on the street. All of our murals, we have a lot of murals here. All of our murals are updated and refreshed with art. All the galleries open up. And then they also have convention centers, the Miami Beach Convention Center and the Mana Convention Center in Wynwood, and basically any indoor space where they can put art, they do, and they charge a fee to come and see it. And the cool thing about Miami that I really like is we have a lot of street artists and a lot of like pop and modern art, which is kind of like my favorite. So, and there's also parties and DJs and day parties, and like it's a big thing like for about a week. It's great. It started around the 26th and went until the 5th.
Nice. Well, that's good. So like anybody who enjoy, and I mean, like me, like I'm not like a big art guy, but I like going like if there's stuff like that, like and seeing, different things. My wife's more into it than what I am, but like it's always great to go out there and see, who is talented. And I'm just like, I can draw a stick figure. And I'm just like, I'm just kind of like, I'm such a worthless piece of shit that like this person can do this amazing art. But me, I'm just kind of like, okay, I rely on the fact that I used to wrestle and the fact that I can talk good. And those are my talents. However, this person can look at something and go, wow, this is amazing.
I always find it like really inspiring too, though, because there are pieces where you're like, oh my God, how did they do that? That's insane. Like these beautiful paintings done with little dots, and stuff like that. But then there's also things where you're like, oh, I could do that. And that just evoked emotion in me. And maybe I could make something that would evoke emotion in somebody else because I could do that. Like, I know I could do that, so it's a lot of like mixed, it's very like inspiring.
Yeah. And if you're ever in Baltimore, we have a museum here. It's the Visionary Arts Museum, and that's real cool. And it's like all kinds of like different odd arts, like someone that sat there and constructed like a van out of like popsicle sticks.
I love that.
Yeah. And they also have one of the most baller gift shops I have ever seen in my life. Like,
I want to go now. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
If you're ever in Baltimore, definitely go check it out. Like that's one thing I suggest to people, and also going to an Orioles game. That's unbelievable also. But so
I like the aquarium in Baltimore. That's
the aquarium's cool too. I had to deliver to there, and when I had to deliver there, like it was just completely, it sucked. Like going there was awesome, but then putting equipment in there, and I was just kind of like, yeah, this isn't fucking fun. And it was the same thing with the zoo. The zoo was just so hard to deal with. And I'm just like, I don't want to do this. But it's cool that there's an angry gorilla going nuts over here. But I just don't feel like, dealing with, putting equipment into here. And what we're going to do real quick, we're going to get into what we started last week since we're in December. Awkward photos with Santa. So I just basically typed into Google awkward photos with Santa. Of course, last week was a photo of Santa with a lizard. Somebody brought in their like whole entire dragon. It was it was like a Komodo dragon. So here's one right here. And this is absolutely, if I was a child, I would be absolutely terrified of this. So it is this one right here. And like, I'm looking at, I'm like, is that a mask? Like, I don't
Is
like,
that a real Santa?
like, yeah, like that, like somebody took a
Oh,
photo
that's
of
one
it,
of those rubber ones that you put on.
so that's a rubber mask because it looks weird because you can see his
Yeah.
eyes like kind of underneath, but that's a terrifying take.
That's a
That's a bad
fucking
idea.
that is a fucking
Why
clown
would
mask.
they
Yeah.
choose that instead of just like a beard and some makeup?
Yeah, that's like the John Wayne Gacy of Santas right there. Like,
If you
that's
see that Santa, you know you're on his naughty list.
yeah. There's no Tim Allen underneath that.
Is that the flogger? Is that the flogger guy?
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of Exotica, we ran into a guy who was doing flogging at Exotica, and I interviewed
like
him, and he
flogging.
flogged me for a little bit. And have you ever been associated? Have you ever done any movies or anything where you have done flogging?
Oh yeah, many.
Yeah.
And I've done it in my personal life too. I've got some floggers. Yeah.
What blew us away, we talked about it a little bit beforehand, is that like the girl who like was being flogged, she was literally being flogged Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I'm like, he's just beating her ass for like 3 days straight.
Yeah. I actually depends on what the flog looks like, but obviously the wider the straps, the less it hurts. And they're like kind of like a suede usually. So it feels kind of soft, but it's they're heavy. They've got like weight to them. So it's a really interesting feeling. And it kind of turns me on if the right person is doing it. You can't just beat somebody.
Oh, yeah.
But there's like a certain like rhythm to it. And
Yeah, he was doing that. He was doing like a little
yeah.
like, yeah.
I'm telling you, I got some. I do it. But like if you bend a girl over and you hit her right like at the crease of her where her butt and her thighs come together,
Okay.
it like has a lot of like air and like pressure that like will hit up against her pussy too. And it's like kind of like it makes your pussy wet and kind of like stimulates it a little bit. It's very exciting. Yeah.
And what's funny is like we were there, and of course, she had on just underwear, and that was it. And like he was like, well, in the middle of the interview, he's like, well, do you want to be flogged? And I was like, why the fuck not? And I was like, let's do it. And like so, like he's sitting there, and I told him, I was like, the only thing I ask is just don't hit my back, because I just literally the day before had tattoo work.
Oh yeah, you don't want that.
And he was like, all right. And like, he's sitting there and he's going slow. And this Dick Socrates that's here with me in the studio, he was like, he used to be a pro wrestler, hit him harder. So then he's hitting me harder. And then like our other co-host Matt was like, oh, I wonder if he had wood while he was doing that. I'm like, I kind of had wood while he was doing it.
The flogging, like there's when you're talking like BDSM kind of stuff, when you're talking like spanking and flogging and whips and stuff, there's two different types of like feelings, sensations, right? There's like a thud, and then there's like a sting. And if the straps on the flogger are wide, you get more of a thud kind of feeling. And if they're skinnier, you get more of a sting. Like if you just go with like a whip, like cha, that it's gonna sting and hurt. But like the wider the straps are and the softer they are, the more it feels like a thud. It's nice.
And of course, Jason Rushman, he said that his favorite movies are the ones that you do with kink. He said he loves kink so much.
Yeah, I've done quite a few like BDSM movies. It's been a while, but I did a lot in my career for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what we're gonna do real quick is we're gonna play a couple of ads. We're gonna take a small little break in case anybody wants to grab a drink, use the bathroom real quick, and then when we come back, we're gonna get into our game segment. So of course, Sarah, I think you played a couple of them last time we were on. We have a couple more that we've added to the array of games. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead, get a word from some of our friends, and we will be back here live on YouTube Live in 1 second with Sarah J.
Hey guys, this is Alexis Fox, and you're listening to the Happy Hour podcast.
Make sure you check out our friends located over at Hysteria Brewing Company. They are at 9570 Burger Road, Suite J in Columbia, Maryland. Make sure you pop out, say hey to Ty, and try their featured brew, Trash Panda, along with all the other crafted brews they have. And once again, that's Hysteria Brewing Company, 9570 Burger Road, Suite J in Columbia, Maryland. See you guys there.
In a world full of hunger and thirst, one restaurant will attempt to satisfy these cravings forever. Meet our hero, the cheeseburger, and his salty partner, crab dip tater tots. Together, with local craft beer, they take the fight to hunger with with a special appearance by Cupcake Milkshake, they Vagabond Sandwich Company. Better making food than making commercials.
Hello, my name is Bubba Almany. I am a bodyguard who has been in the security industry for over a decade. My team and I offer a variety of security services that cover all aspects of security operations. We have secured some of the highest profile clients and largest events in the world. Should your situation require armed protection, we have the ability to carry in all 50 states and U.S. territories. Not only do we have the latest security equipment, we also have world-class training. We look forward to assisting all of your security needs by bringing you the finest and most dedicated security personnel available. From the Office of the President of the United States to local county and state dignitaries, my tactical dignitary protection officers are the tip of the spear in this extremely competitive industry. Let my highly trained staff protect the asset today. We can be contacted via the email and number below. Thank you.
Hey, goddammit, this is Mick Strawn, and you're listening to, what the hell is it? The Happy Hour Podcast.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, of course, this is the Happy Hour Podcast. Of course, we're still live right here on YouTube Live. We're here with Sarah J, and we're going to get into our game segment, Oh, the Humanity. So we started off, I'm not sure, Sarah, if you were here last time, if we had IncoHearant yet on the game. So IncoHearant, pretty much what it is it's a game that's in drunken lingo, and you need to try to sound out the term, figure out what the term is. So let me just go ahead and get this ready, and I'll get it up on the screen for you in 1 second. So let me just go ahead and get this ready, hit this right here. And what do you think that says? Now, there are a few hints, so if you need a hint, just let me know, and I can let you know what the hint is. Best thing to do is try to sound it out fast, but also use a Southern accent sometimes when you do it as well.
Incognito homid. Incognito homode.
I got it.
Sounds just like I got it.
Yeah, I have some. You need something.
One of the hints is a secret search.
Incog. What's that?
You're close.
Incog.
Pretty much, if you were to open a secret window in Google or on your phone.
I'm lost. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I thought I'd be able to do all right with this because I got a lot of friends that English is not their first language, and so they'll text me and it's like all out of whack.
Yeah.
I have to sometimes I have to read text messages in like Hispanic accent.
Tom, what do you think it is?
Incognito mode.
Yes, it is incognito mode.
Okay.
Yeah, incognito mode. So that was the first one. So let me just go ahead and get the next one pulled up. And Sarah, we did a whole entire, I'm not sure if you're familiar with wrestling any at all, but if you know if you know the Royal Rumble, we did a whole episode where we brought back 30 former guests and we played this game in a Royal Rumble style elimination thing. And with Johnny Goodluck, but he won that. And we actually had a real championship belt made up and we sent it to Johnny Goodluck cool. So we're actually going to be doing another one in June. So here's the next one that's going to come up. What do you think that says?
Hisitinian. Hissit. Hisitinian.
One of the hints is Tiny Tim. A thought-provoking question typically insinuating a man's junk is unimpressive in size.
Oh, his is tiny, isn't it?
But what would someone say if you were having sex? What would someone say to someone who would potentially?
Is it in yet?
Yes, is it in yet? Yes, that is it. Got it. Yes,
got it.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
Which
There you go.
I've never had it said to me. for
Yeah,
the record.
the best thing is like a lot of times if you say it really fast, you'll say it without saying it, which is hilarious. Like
Right. That's what I was trying to do. I was
Yeah,
figuring that.
How many times have you heard that, Ray, for the record?
All right, so let's make sure. All right, so what do you think? This is the last one. What do you think this one says?
Power pull up. No, power up pull. Power pull up.
You got the first word. The first word is power.
Power upple. Uppable. Uppull.
One of the hints is a perfect pair.
Power couple.
Yes, it is power couple.
Yep.
And the other hint was two already awesome people being made even better together.
Like you were
So,
flogging those bullets.
yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's funny about the wrestling thing. Like I was a big wrestling fan, like all growing up and stuff. I kind of like waned off now. I'm a little busy to watch wrestling, unfortunately. But I just recently was at my mom's house for my birthday, and I was going through this like old box of pictures that I haven't seen in decades.
Yeah.
And I found a bunch of pictures of me with wrestlers.
like what kind of pictures? You taking pictures with them, or were they other kind of pictures?
No. It was just like, like regular, like
Yeah.
regular pictures that regular people take.
Which
But yeah, I'd totally forgotten about them. Like, they're probably from like the early 2000s.
What wrestlers were there?
I don't know if I want to tell, but there's so many. There's so many. And like a lot of the referees, and like it was really cool. I was like, wow, I completely forgot that I had these pictures.
There's so many guys right now that are employed by WWE and AEW that I had the honor to work with before they made it places. And it's just crazy. I look all the time. I'm like, man, like I was in the ring with that guy. Like, it's just it's strange how a lot of that works out.
These pictures are so old that I have like a Nokia phone on a clip on my belt loop.
Nice. And what we're going to do now is we're going to get into Never Have I Ever. So the way we play Never Have I Ever is pretty much if you have a drink, you take a drink if you did it. Maybe provide a small.
I always get drunk during these games because I've done everything.
If you don't want to say if you did the thing, just act like you've never done it. You've never done it before. So the first one is never have I ever been rushed to the emergency room for a drunken injury.
Oh yeah, no, I haven't done that.
I actually have not myself.
Yeah.
What about you, Psychro? Have you?
I haven't. No.
No drunken injuries for me. However, I do know people. There was a friend that I had that he went to the hospital because we went to a concert and we were seeing Stain. Stain was the headliner, and it was at Meriwether Post Pavilion. He jumped in the fountain, like the fountain that was there, and of course the fountains have like all these things that make the jets go up, and he ended up almost cutting his toe completely off.
Shit.
It was Bobby, and he ended up cutting his toe and was completely off, and he had to go to the hospital and get his toe pretty much almost sewn back on. But he looks down and goes, "That's my Aaron Lewis scar," because he almost
I also am not really like big on hospitals. So if like I would have had an accident, I would have used some like super glue and duct tape and called it a day.
That's the wrestler method. The wrestler method is normally super glue or duct tape. Like so many guys just get busted open and they just use super glue and they're like, all right, I'm good.
I've cut myself many times and just used some super glue and duct tape.
All right, so here's the next one. Never have I ever been in a fight with a taxi driver.
Now, is this a physical or a verbal?
I don't know. So Sarah drank. So would you mind explaining how? Yeah.
I've been in so many fights with taxi drivers, like so many fights with taxi drivers. But one of them that sticks out that's like worth mentioning, I was definitely drunk and like I wasn't having sex.
Yeah.
But there was some sexual activity happening in
there
the
were
back
things going on. Yeah.
It was in San Francisco.
Yeah.
There was some sexual activity happening in the back of the taxi. The taxi cab driver was like pissed. He was like, whatever his language was, which wasn't Spanish or English, he was like cussing us out, and he was like threatening to like pull over, and he was like, "No, you must stop now. You must stop. You must stop now." And yeah, like very, very, very fucking upset. And I was like, "Yo, bro, chill. Like it's okay.
Yeah.
We're done. We're not doing nothing.
Just
okay?"
adjust the rear view mirror and glance as you're like driving. Like enjoy it. Enjoy what's going on in your car. And oh man,
maybe he was just trying to join in, and you thought he was mad.
Yeah.
No, you know, he was like one of those religious dudes who was like really offended that it was like even in his eyeballs.
Oh, a fucking nerd.
Yeah. And Cypher, you said you had one?
Yeah, I was getting a ride back from the Baltimore Arena from a concert. I think it was Megadeth.
Okay.
Keep in mind, to get from my house to the arena is about $25 cab ride, maybe 50 at the most.
Okay.
We're like at the Gold Club, so we're like barely halfway to my house. And I just happened to look up at the meter, and the meter says $52.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm like, brother, I could tell he was one of them guys that had the hack meter.
Yeah.
I was like, brother, just so you know, I'm not giving you $52.
Yeah.
You can take me home and I'll give you 30, or you can drop me off right here and I'll give you 20, but I ain't giving you 52. And if you say shit, I'm reporting you to the cops. And I swear to God, he tried to work. He's like, oh man, my meter's been fucked up. It's something wrong with my meter.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's always yeah.
Likely story.
Yeah, that's why Uber and Lyft ended up taking a lot of like they hate Uber and Lyft in Vegas. I took a trip to Vegas, and fuck, they're not even allowed to like pull directly up to hotels and shit. It's like all cabs that are just sitting there.
Oh, yeah.
And so here's the last one, and I would not be surprised if all of us in this chat have done this.
Oh,
Never.
right. Not that this is important, but for the record, that it wasn't Megadeth, it was Avenged Sevenfold.
Let me correct the record.
I just gotta make sure that's
So here's the last one. Never have I ever done a striptease dance for my partner. So I think I have definitely gotten drunk, and my
I've
wife.
done a striptease dance for a lot of other people's partners too.
I've done a striptease dance for a couple of
Socrates, that does not surprise me one bit. So, Sarah, you've probably played this before on our show. We do it a little bit differently now. We end this segment with Cards Against Humanity.
Oh, I love that game. That's like my favorite game.
We play it differently because before we used to have cards and people would forget what the cards were. So we call it Cards Against Humanity Roulette. So what we're going to do is we're going to read off the face card, and then you're going to pick a random lucky number to try to answer that card. If you don't like it, you get 2 rebuttals to pick a different one. So the first one is, my memory last night is pretty hazy. I remember blank, and that's pretty much it. So 1 through 6, what do you think?
6.
All right. So 6 is, my memory last night is pretty hazy. I remember eating Tom Selleck's mustache to gain his powers, and that's pretty much it. Are you satisfied with that answer, or do you want a rebuttal for a different answer?
That's fantastic, but like I think there could be something more sexual even. Let's go with another one.
All right, 1 through 5. What do you think?
3.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
All
right. So my memory last night is pretty hazy. I remember genetically engineered super soldiers, and that's pretty much it. So I
don't like that one. That one's boring.
You like that one? You want to hold, or you want to use your last rebuttal?
No, let's use the last one.
All right. So now 1 through 4.
For 1.
1. All right. So 1. My memory last night is pretty hazy. I remember Nicolas Cage, and that's pretty much it.
Yes, that's the one. That's the one.
So the last 3 will go back there, and they will be used at another time. So now we have another card. Now this one is a 2-answer card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you choose a number, and Tom is going to choose a number, and see what you guys come up with. So this one is, listen, son, if you want to get involved with blank, I won't stop you. Just steer clear of blank. So Sarah, what number do you want? 1 through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 through 8.
Oh, let's go with 7.
7. All right. So 7. All right. There we go. What about you, Tom?
I go with 2.
2. All right. So listen, son, if you want to get involved with deflowering the princess, I won't stop you. Just steer clear of Stockholm syndrome.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic.
So there's the 2 rebuttals. Are you guys both satisfied with your answers, or do one or the both of you want to use the rebuttals?
I'm the first one or the second one?
You're the first one, which is
Okay. I like mine. I'll be honest. I like mine.
okay. So yours is deflowering the princess.
Yeah, let's do flower princesses.
Yeah. So Tom, yours is Stockholm syndrome.
I mean, I like it. It's like the perfect answer, but just for the sake of the show, let's go with number 5.
Number 5. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So listen, son, if you want to get involved with deflowering the princess, I won't stop you. Just steer clear of praying the gay away.
Oh no.
Tom, are you good with that one?
That might be
Or
better,
are you
yeah.
going to use another rebuttal?
No, I'm staying with
You're
that.
going to hold.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So that will end our Ode to Humanity segment. Sarah, of course, thank you for taking part in our games as always. And what we're going to do, there's another segment that we do on the show. And there's a guy that I know, he's handicapped, and he makes random
we call them
food dishes.
handy capable.
And capable.
Yeah. He makes random food dishes, and we never know what it is. He just posts it on Facebook, and he never gives like any explanation of what it is, and he always makes it in an air fryer. So we started doing it on a segment on the show of we try to figure out what it is, and then you tell us if you would eat it, and then you name it. So this is what it is for this week. Let me just go ahead and get this ready to go. And this is the one for this week. What does that look like to you? He actually, right before I went live, he posted this. So I have no idea if he even posted what it could potentially be.
Can you turn a little bit?
It looks like it's like maybe sausage and like maybe some sort of like, I don't know if that's juice or grease or cheese or what's going on in that. It looks like he pretty much cooked his garbage. Like I don't know what that is. Like
stir fry, but from a horror movie.
Yeah, like my first thought was fried green beans.
Okay, I didn't think of green beans.
My second thought was carrots.
Yeah. Like
Yeah, I don't know. And I do see the cheese elements.
yeah, there is definitely a cheese element there, but now that you brought up like it could very well be green beans or something like that he's frying, because I looked and I was like, that's sausage, and then I was like, wait a minute, that could very much be something that's breaded.
It's not green bean casserole, it's green bean trash roll.
Yeah, it's green bean trash roll. So Sarah, here's what it is. So looking at that first, would you eat that?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. I think knowing the fact that I see it and there is cheese, I don't know what this whole juice is that's going on here
to find out what it is.
But like there's a little bit of juice here, but that does, like, to me, I want to feel like that's sausage, and I love sausage, so I would definitely eat like I would definitely eat that element of it.
Yeah.
But like, so if you could name that, what would you name that?
I'm gonna go with like veggie au gratin.
Veggie au gratin. All right,
Yeah.
Tom. What about you? What would you call that dish?
We'll call it the flogger's delight.
Flogger's delight.
Call back.
Awesome.
And
It could be fingers.
The green bean trash roll.
Right.
Oh my God. And Sarah, of course, Christmas is coming up. Have you had any strange like Christmas experiences? Like, is there anything that like stands out on the top of your mind? Like any like weird experiences with like any Santas, or just anything that's like just completely went upside down for the holiday?
It's interesting. I don't like soapbox it, but I don't celebrate Christmas. Like I quit celebrating Christmas when I was probably like 20. Yeah, so like I don't really come across and then I moved to Florida, so I live in Florida, and not that people don't celebrate Christmas here, but we lack snow.
Yeah.
Like you were mentioning before, so there's that. I try to avoid like everything Christmas. I try to avoid the whole thing. Like there'll be no Christmas decorations in my house, nothing. Yeah. I don't know. I don't like it. It makes me feel uncomfortable.
my wife likes to decorate, but I'm one of those types of people. I'm like, fuck, I need to buy gifts because like we don't have kids, so it's just kind of like every year we're just kind of like, all right, like we have no idea what to get this person, we have no idea what to get this person,
stress.
like, and we're just kind of like, well, fuck, gift cards it is, but like I
love
don't know.
that.
It's weird, but like now how. And of course, we've seen
I
a lot of
I did have a dog when I was a kid that was a white dog, and
Okay.
my mom put out the Christmas decorations, and he got into like some artificial holly, like little holly berries.
Yeah.
And we came home, and the dog is pink, like everywhere. Like the dog was pink
That's
everywhere.
It's just like, what the hell happened to him?
Yeah, we had to like search the house and be like, okay, what is fucked up? Like, because the dog is like pink like my dress, but like all over his face.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. My dogs had, and they don't do it anymore, but when they were younger, they had a bad habit of just literally pulling ornaments off of the tree.
Oh,
They just walk up and just grab it with their mouth and they'd be like, this is mine. And I'm like, no, that's glass. Stop. Get off of it.
I love seeing those videos of like cats climbing Christmas trees.
Oh my, yeah.
I was just
Yeah.
getting ready to say, like, Ray, you've seen my dogs on like Facebook, right? I have 2 big dogs, right?
Yeah.
But my cat sleeps in the Christmas tree, so they don't fuck.
Wait,
with
he sleeps in the
Like
tree?
up or like underneath.
No, well, sometimes underneath, sometimes up in it. It all depends. But when she's in there, the dogs don't fuck with the tree at all because they're both scared of the cat.
So it's like they go over to the tree, and the next thing you know, there's just a cat arm that comes out and just swats them from the
Right.
middle of the tree. It's just like, Merry Christmas, bitch. Bye.
I hope you're posting videos of that somewhere, because there's people like me that want to see it.
Send some videos to Sarah of your cat in the tree. I mean, here's the thing. Like, do you have the fear that your cat may end up like the cat from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation? Like, it's in the tree, and then it's just kind of like, I think I might bite this electrical wire. And then the next thing you know, you just we're live on the podcast, so your lights just flicker, and it's just like, well, there's Tom's cat. It's dead.
Look, my cat is like a hardened street cat. She's not stupid. You know what I mean?
I
She's
love
gonna-
those kind of cats. Those are the best kinds.
Oh, she's awesome. She goes out like in the summertime when I cook out. She just comes outside like a dog and just hangs out at the grill and hangs out on the porch. She's old now, so she lost her edge a little bit, but she used to be a mean motherfucker.
Oh, like Tom, did I ever tell the story of when me and my wife were brutalized by a cat?
I love the adjectives you use.
We were cat sitting for one of our friends. She'd just gotten a kitten, and she had like an older cat. And so we made it through the whole weekend, and we're leaving her apartment. This was when me and my wife first got together for about a year. So we're leaving her apartment, and the cat sees a dog outside. So mind you, we've been feeding this cat catnip all weekend. So this cat's like all fucked up off catnip. So the cat sees the dog, and it runs outside, and it just like stands there and it's just like, and just starts freaking the fuck out. So I go to grab the cat, and the cat rolls over to its back.
What was that noise again?
The cat like rolls over to its back, and it becomes Wolverine instantly. Like its claws just come out and so scratching up my arm. So like I pick up the cat, and I kind of like just kind of toss it. So then I guess like me kind of tossing it out of the way, it got angry. So it ran towards my wife and grabbed her leg and dug its claws into her leg and started climbing up her leg and was like biting her and wouldn't let go. So I'm trying to pull this cat off. And to this day, I feel bad about it, but out of instinct, I literally just punch this cat, just straight up punch it because I can't rip it. And the cat like lets go, and like my wife's bleeding. Her jeans are like ripped up. She opens the door to the apartment. I take this cat over my head like this. I just throw it, and I'm like, what?
Have you seen that?
Yeah, she slams the door, and we hear the cat going nuts at the door, like trying to get back to us on the way out. I'm just like, did this really happen? And then we had to go to the hospital and get all these shots and all that shit. Like, yeah.
Have you seen the video of the little girl that was getting bit by the raccoon?
Yes.
And the mom like picked it up and she like held it for a minute because she was like, I don't know what to do with this fucking thing. And then she just overhand threw the fucking raccoon out in the yard.
When we had that big snowstorm back in '96,
okay,
me and my buddies were playing football behind the shopping center.
Okay.
And my one friend found a dead cat that was frozen in the snow. and he just
Oh,
picks,
Jesus.
he picks this dead cat up and starts swinging it around by the tail. So we all run away because
Jesus
we know he's gonna throw it at one of us, right? So we're all running away. So my one friend Casey was like 12, a little blacker than him. He's running, he just wings this dead cat, hits him right in the head with it, and the cat like curls around his head, and the look on his face was just pure terror of this frozen dead cat hitting him in the head. It was amazing.
I'd rather be attacked by a real cat than to be hit with a frozen dead cat.
Yeah.
And Sarah, of course, we're getting a little close on time. We normally have our guests stay for about an hour. We don't like to take up too much time.
Us to go watch the next scene.
Of course, where can everybody find you, and what all do you have coming up? Of course, you have your CBD. You have all kinds of who's who of movies that are available out there, and like where can everybody find you if they haven't seen your stuff before?
You can always go to Sarah J Links. That's got like the one-stop shop for everything Sarah J. But I also have a new website coming out, wideside.com. It's up now, and it will be like grand release will be in January. So really looking forward to that. We do have some new products on my CBD line, so make sure you check that out, sarahjcbd.com. We got a new pain roller, and we got some new and improved all organic products that I think everybody's going to enjoy.
Cool. And Sarah, what we're going to do, we're going to let you get ready to get out of here. We're going to wrap up here on YouTube Live. And of course, we will be back here again next Friday, right here live on YouTube Live at 7:30 p.m. start time. Make sure you check out all of our social media pages, for guest information and where you can find all the content. Of course, this episode will be live as soon as this is over on YouTube, and it will also be broken down and posted all throughout the next month or so, all throughout all of our social media pages. And we're going to go ahead wrap up here on YouTube Live. Sarah, will you be able to hang out for 1 minute once we're done?
Sure. Absolutely.
Awesome. So we will see everybody right here on the Happy Hour podcast. I'm just going to glance real quick to see if there's any more questions in the thread before we go. Of course. Okay. Our buddy Jason, he said, Sarah, have you ever worked with Tommy Pistol?
No, I have not.
I think that guy asks that question every week, doesn't he?
And then Pedro Felipe, which I think Pedro Felipe came through last time Sarah was on, because we called him Pedro the Night Stalker. He lives in Brazil. I remember Pedro, and he said, hello guys. And he said, good evening. I lost much. What I lost. And then he said, I love dogs. I have tree.
Wait, what?
And then he said 3. Sorry. And Jason said, love the podcast. Hope you guys are having an amazing night. To you and Sarah. And Pedro said, what thing about what he said, what she thing about she has seeing around the world? So I said, I guess he said, what's the best thing that you've seen around the world?
Yeah, the world is big. It's hard to pick just one thing, right? Like I've done some crazy things. I've seen some sights. Yeah, I just got back from Costa Rica. That was
I saw that online.
Cool. Yeah, like so many toucans everywhere, monkeys, all that stuff. That was
those are cool ass birds. I love toucans.
Yeah, pretty fucking cool. But the thing that like sticks out to me as far as like my travel goes is Kiev.
Okay.
Because it will never be the same.
Yeah.
And it was a great opportunity to be able to go. I went in 2019, and my assistant is Ukrainian. So, they don't speak English in Ukraine. In case anybody didn't know that, like they don't speak English at all. So it's not like one of those places where you can just go as an English speaker. So I had the opportunity to go because my assistant's Ukrainian, and it was a beautiful place, and it was a beautiful city with very nice people, great food. It was quite an experience, and I'm so glad I got to do that.
Nice. Yeah, we brought this up before. Actually, Tom, one of his favorite guests was Tati Harushko. She's from the Ukraine, and my wife, she has like descendants in the Ukraine. And when we were talking to her, she was like, "Well, what's her last name?" And I was like, "Her maiden last name was Gumanik," and she literally said it Hominik, which is the way it was pronounced way back.
Sure.
And so with all that stuff, I was always in tune with that because my wife kept a close eye on a lot of that kind of stuff. But what we're going to do, we're going to wrap up right here on YouTube Live, and we will see you guys next week right here on the Happy Hour podcast. For Tom, for Socrates, and of course Sarah J. Thank you very, very much for coming on to the show for a second time. We appreciate it. Anytime you want to come on, let us know. We'll always be glad to have you.
It was a pleasure as always. So much fun.
All right, we are going to wrap up right here on YouTube Live, and we will see you